Presiloski here to teach you my arrangement of Fake Plastic Trees by Radiohead. I am playing my T60 Timberline harp guitar today with a beautiful cutaway. Make sure to check out Timberline Guitars for the best, most affordable harp guitars, especially if you're considering getting into harp guitars, or even if you're into harp guitars and you just want a wicked quality instrument for not an arm and a leg. Anyways, we're going to jump right into the song. So, tuning for this treble portion of the guitar is almost in regular standard tuning, except for the highest string, which is usually E. We're going to tune that down to D. So we should have E, A, D, G, B, D. So for the sub bass portion, a few of the strings don't really matter, but in order I have my E, A, B, C, D, and G. We're really only using the A, B, and D. So besides that, we're pretty much not touching those other bass notes there. The other bass notes that we'll have when I do play E will just be that E. In the actual song, it never goes down to that low E there. So we're never going to play that low E. Anyways, so most of these shapes are going to look pretty familiar if you're just used to playing regular standard tuning guitar. So first chord we're starting this song off with, and this starting part's nice because it starts without any sub bass. You kind of get an idea of the melody of what's going on with this sound before we add any sub bass strings. So it's a really nice song to just kind of get the grasp of moving around, moving a melody along, and then adding a sub bass to just kind of take it one step at a time. So anyways, when I start the song off, I'm starting with pretty much like a Jimi Hendrix style A chord on the 5th fret here, but we kind of get this add 4 sound because we have this open D. That sound. This. Minus that G note. So when we start off, we're kind of here. We're rolling first finger into this thumb. Okay? So in the meantime, really make sure that we're backing off on those sub bass strings and muting them. So you don't get that, you get that. So make sure you're resting your hand or arm or forearm or palm or whatever across the whole time. So when we start off, you're getting that and not that extra. That. Okay? Anyways. Now our first melody. Now, when I start off here on the A chord to get the melody, I'm going from 2 to 4. So that's... Now I'm back to my A shape, fret 7 and 6 here on the D and G strings. Kind of getting this chromatic movement because that's what his voice does. And then back to that 2nd fret. So we have... Okay, that's the basic idea. So when I get this, okay, I'll do that one more time really slow. Now we get over to this F sharp minor 7. So usually I would probably bar or do it like this, but just for the way I'm set up with my first finger, I kind of go into this like James Taylor style A, which I'm going to be doing a lot in this song, by the way, so get used to this. But I'm going fingers 2, 1, 3. So it's like my A shape's like this instead of like this or a bar. So I have fingers 2, 1, and 3 with my thumb over grabbing this F sharp. And then I'm doing the same kind of melody. Low E, and to just regular old E chord. But I'm not playing my first 2 strings. So I have this so far. I'm leading into my D chord here, so one more time from our F sharp. kind of thinking just D chord again, so from D to D, but I'm pulling off this F sharp. This would lead to an A. A would usually look like this, fret 6, 5, 5 across, but because I'm tuned down that high string down to D, we're going to grab this 7th fret. So my A shape would look like this if I was just playing it as a chord. Open A, then 7, 6, 5, 7 for frets. Okay? So when right there. And then when I'm strumming this, I'm just kind of going back up to this here, this D shape here. Okay, so here's what the first verse sounds like. Use this as a template because everything after this, every single verse is just variations off of everything I just did. So if you nail this first one, everything else should just be easy. It's just variations. There's like 6 different verses that we're doing. So as long as you get the first one, everything else is going to be gravy. It's just adding sub basses and little variations, which I'll explain here shortly. So here's what we got so far from the top. Okay, so I guess I kind of lied on that here. At the end here, instead of fret 7 on G and B, I'm going to have fret 7 on D and G with this open B, so we kind of get this D6 chord happening. So anyways, and that leads back in, and now we're just adding sub basses. So now when we go to our A, instead of A here, we're A. So I'm letting it drone through the very first time. You'll kind of hear it. So when I go in the second time, it's almost verbatim the same. So notice how I let that A drone over the whole thing? That's what happens in the song. So that's what I'm letting it do. If I just go, all of a sudden something's missing. So we kind of want that drone after just kind of having no bass so far. So you'll notice that I didn't do the chromatic walk down. And I'm adding another bass note at the end there. So, okay, so now make sure to stop when I go. Sub bass again. Now there's our sub bass again for the A. Okay, so right there, back to the A shape here, and that's. So if you notice that second verse is pretty much just like the first one, except we're adding the sub bass and like a baby variation here and there. Literally listen to the song if you want to just really nail the lyrics. You'll just get a feel for it and you won't think about it too much. So that's the whole point with mastering an instrument, right? Is just getting that muscle memory down. So that's the second verse here. There's a lead into our chorus. Now I'm using this first finger to stay down. If you want to flip it, we kind of have this like B minor 11th shape, except I guess just B minor 7 here. So just think A and this B minor shape. So A, or this kind of shape here, and that B minor, which if you don't see what I'm doing is frets 2, open, 2, open. So the rhythm here, I'm pretty much thumb, index, and then just kind of the stroke. It's just timekeeping at this point. You can kind of just do whatever you really want there, but it's just general timekeeping that I'm doing. I'm not really thinking too much about the strumming pattern. I'm just filling it up as I'm going here. So we have this. Okay, so now we get into the next, I guess, 25% of the song. That's the first 25%, here's the next 25. So we're doing the same thing that we did before. Same as the second verse, pretty much. Okay, so that's the same as if I consider that the third verse, the second and the third one are exactly the same, so that's why I just sped through that there, so nothing really crazy right there. This one we do a couple little changes though, so here, right there. So I'm doing my A sus thing, where I'm holding this F sharp down here, so it's kind of like a D chord, but we're getting rid of this note thereafter, so I'm just thinking A sus. Anyways, if you want to think the good movement that you'll see in a billion songs, go ahead. But so make sure when you add the backbeat here, we're lifting up with that index finger or whatever finger you're most comfortable with on that A note on the G here. So now when I do this, I'm thinking my F sharp chord, but is my melody. So when I do this, I'm just using literally just the force of my hand. I'm playing the C sharp note here, hammering onto the B out of nowhere on that third string, and pulling off here. So between the A now the timing's kind of weird on this. I'm just doing that same D thing as before, but once again, since I'm following the vocals, I'm just doubling that up here. So that's it. One's up, and then when you would strum usually to kind of fill up that timekeeping, you're just strumming again here. Okay, and there's the A. Okay, so that would be the fourth verse. So if I just played the fourth verse, I'm going to lead in here to my next chorus here. First I'm almost the same, but once again following the vocals. 4th fret on D, 2nd fret on B, 2nd fret on G, open B. everything that we did before is pretty much the same. I'm gonna just drone that B. But instead of going to the A drone here, I'm gonna just go treble because the bass cuts out at this point. Same thing here with the B. Now we add this D note right here. I'm going to keep that down as we go back to our A. So I'll just play the second chorus for you so you can kind of hear it. But like I said, it's just variations of the same first two parts that we saw, right? So we have, whoa, let's try that again. Kind of pick it up dynamically a little bit right here, but it's once again pretty much the same, just with variations, exact same chord progression kind of over and over again, right? So we just played the dynamics here, but this time I kind of double up the bass note because we're trying to get a little more dynamic with the bass, a little bit more of a pulse. Here, I have the bass in again here. So we're just playing that bass game and just adding that in, and that creates a lot more heartbeat into the song since we can hear this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that's the same. So it's pretty much just on that first A, honestly. Everything else is the same. Now when I walk up on the D chord this time here, I'm going from D, I'm kind of throwing this E, and back to a D again. As that D note rings out. And now I'm back to my A. Now, variation. I'm just stretching up to this 5th fret, so just an A, just kind of the G inversion of A. That good old A. So we have so once again these are variations on the melody. So on this one, same thing we did before. Now we're grabbing that E note. It kind of looks like a D chord. As I play this E, and same thing here, just this D chord here. So, kind of weird shape though, if you want to just keep it like that, go for it. But when I'm here, I just instinctively go first finger there, and then I use my middle finger and pinky, or third finger, depending on how the sun aligns with the stars that day. So, here's the final verse now. So we got before, but now this time for the chorus we just completely cut out the bass. So now it's just treble. So when I'm here, that's how I lead in. So the reason I double up that B there instead of going, then I go, is it just the tonal difference is just kind of like his voice. It creates that tonal difference. So now we walk up to this kind of, if I could be, so I'm holding that A chord still, but I have my B over here, so I kind of get this 11th feel here. So basic kind of Hendrixy Chili Peppers move here. So I'll play that really slowly. So notice I'm strumming when I hit the, and then I'm grabbing that up with my third finger. If you want to use your middle finger, just strum it up. It's up to you as a player, but still, I'm just using this open A, and then this B at this point. I'm not going to use this A because I have an open string I can take advantage of. So I've back to my B minor and A shapes over here, but I'm using this G sharp kind of as a pickup like he does once again vocally. Name of the game of this song is just the melody, so just make sure to keep that in mind. That cliche blues lick here, quick little trill slide from 4 to 5, and then pull off to that second fret here. So that whole end part, I'll just play it from the last chorus. Yeah, and you'll get the basic idea. So you get the basic idea anyways, little flubs here and there, but yeah, so next, end part of the song, outro. I'm just doing the same idea, but now I'm adding a backbeat with the sub bass, and I'm simply taking the same two chords, B minor, A. So, bass, chord, backbeat. That's the idea that I'm just repeating twice. That's pretty much how Fake Pox Trees goes.